Hello, everyone. This is Al Fadi, and I'd like to welcome you back to a continuation of our series on the great idolatry. It's part of our apologetic video series that is intended to focus on the mere fact that the Prophet of Islam, according to the teaching of the Quran and Hadith, has been elevated to a status to be equal to God. We have shown so far from both the Hadith traditions and the Quran that indeed Muhammad is equal to God in every sense of this word and its meaning. We are going to show you today more verses from the Quran that supports this doctrine. And honestly, I don't have any other words for it other than the doctrine of idolatry, because it is the great shirk indeed when you elevate a human being and make him equal to a deity. In chapter 33 of the Quran, verse 36, it said the following: when Allah and His Messenger, and that's the catchphrase, folks. Always you're going to find this conjunction, okay? When Allah and His Messenger, Allah and His Messenger have decided something. Notice, they both have decided something. Together have decided something. No believing man or woman has a choice about, whether to follow it or not. Anyone who disobeys Allah, once again, and His Messenger is clearly misguided. So the condition here is that you obey, without any questions, a decision that is made by Allah and His Messenger. Both of them together are the one that are going to decide to you. Your job is to have no choice in questioning the judgment, and you have to accept it. Muhammad is dead, yet his judgment moves on and continues to stay with us, supposedly. And therefore, as a person who follows Islam, you are demanded and commanded to accept his judgment. In the next passage we're going to see in chapter 4 of the Quran, verse 115, it says similar things. But if anyone opposes the messenger after the guidance has become clear to him, and follows a path other than that of the believers, we will hand him over to whatever he has turned to, and we will roast him in hell. What an evil destination. What's going to happen to him? He will burn in fire. For doing what? For opposing the messenger of Islam. Okay? Opposing, it didn't say anyone who opposed Allah after the guidance has come clear to him. Guidance, at least I thought the Quran teaches that guidance is given to them about Allah through the prophets, but here, or the messengers, here the messenger himself is the guidance that is given to them. And if he opposes this, his destiny, according to this verse, is nothing but the hell fire. You're punished by hellfire by simply rejecting and opposing the Prophet of Islam. Next, chapter 8, verse 24 of the Quran teaches the following: O you who believe, respond to Allah and to the Messenger. Notice, respond to Allah and to the Messenger. Believe it or not, some of you might say, well, you have to basically recall what the messenger said or taught, today. Believe it or not, actually, the Prophet of Islam took this literally, and one time he called a person while they're praying, and he was actually irritated that the person didn't stop his prayer and answer the messenger. And when the person says, I was praying, he says, didn't you hear that Allah says, respond to Allah and to the messenger when He calls you? Wow. So the he in here, right here, this personal pronoun, is in reference to the messenger. So Muslims keep telling us, how does Jesus talk to you? How do you hear him? How does God talk to you? Well, I ask him the same question. How does Muhammad talk to you today? Because apparently, according to this verse, it is Muhammad who talks to you, and you have to stop everything when you hear his voice. Don't worry about me. I'm comfortable with the way God talks to me. But I'm asking you, tell me, how do you hear his voice? And you're going to stop everything and say that Muhammad is talking to you already? So that's an interesting thing, really, if you ask me. The verse continues to go on to say, He calls you to what will bring you life. So who's the giver of life? Muhammad will give you life. Know that Allah intervenes between a person and his heart, and that you will be gathered to Him. Okay? So you have to really basically learn that it is God who will intervene basically between the person and his heart, and Muhammad is the one who's going to give you life, and Muhammad is the one who's going to call you and have to respond to him. So your obedience to Muhammad trumps that of the obedience to God. In the next passage, we are going to focus on chapter 33, verse 36 of the Quran. Says, when Allah and His Messenger have decided something similar, we just covered this. Just a reminder to you again that you need to pay close attention. In the context of judgment, it is Allah and the Messenger together that decide on anything, and therefore no believing man or woman has any choice but to obey and listen to Allah and His Messenger and their judgment. Folks, if this is not idolatry, I really don't know what you call it, because it's very clear here that the God of Islam have clearly elevated the status of Muhammad to be equal to him in terms of pronouncing judgment, in deciding things that are forbidden and things that are permissible, and also the Muslims are commanded to not to go astray by not listening to the Prophet, not to oppose him, because if they do, they are going to be punished in the hell fire. And the judgment of Muhammad, despite the fact that he's been dead for 14 centuries, is binding to them till this day. That's what we mean by the great idolatry. Until we meet again, have a blessed day. Thanks for watching. Make sure to like and subscribe. Also, hit the bell so that you don't miss future videos. And please consider becoming a patron at patreon.com/Sira International. And together we can introduce Muslims to the gospel of Jesus Christ.